A warm good afternoon to all the dignitaries, colleagues, and my young friends, students. As said by Saint Augustine, the world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page. This quote indicates that one should travel to different places to learn others' culture, understand people, and live in harmony. In India itself, at a stretch of every 50 kilometer in any direction, one can see the diversity. So keep exploring because tourism fosters peace and understanding. Thank you for joining us for today's celebration. I am Sweetie Jamgade, the event convener, wishing you all a very happy World Tourism Day. It has always been a jubilant experience to organize World Tourism Day to celebrate the traveler in us and support one of the largest growing industry, which has the multiplier effect to boost many other industries. The celebration of World Tourism Day started from 1980 onwards, after the declaration by the United Nations World Tourism Organization in 1979 to mark the milestone of adoption of UNWTO statutes. World Tourism Day is observed to cherish the social, economical, cultural, and political contributions of tourism globally. The congregation of learned speakers on such occasions always help in understanding the industry more deeply. So here we are today with a team of distinguished speakers who will be sharing their insightful thoughts with us. This event is organized by Bachelor of Hotel Management students who have worked from the first week of September for all the series of online competitions. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. This event is streamed live. Participants are muted. The winners will be announced according to the schedule. And all the participants, please stay tuned till the end of the meeting for the update about the collection of trophies and certificates. Now, I request Professor Abby Matthew, our Dean of Faculty of Hospitality Management and Catering Technology, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences, to welcome the esteemed delegates of the ceremony.
By celebrating this day, we state our commitment that as tourism grows, the benefits that come will be felt at every level of our broad and diverse section, from the biggest airline to the smallest family business. So declared the Secretary General of United Nations World Tourism Organization on the eve of World Tourism Day 2021. World Tourism Day 2021 signifies the kickstarting of the recovery and growth process in the tourism sector. The theme, Tourism for Inclusive Growth, is aptly designed to look beyond the statistics and acknowledge that behind every number we project, there is a person, there is a family, and that no one is left behind when tourism bounces back to its original glory. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the World Tourism Day celebrations 2021 at Ramaya University of Applied Sciences in association with India Tourism, Bengaluru, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. It's my proud privilege to welcome each one of you to this celebrations which is celebrated across the globe today. I'm extremely happy to welcome Sri Mohammad Farooq, Director, India Tourism Bengaluru, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Mr. Farooq, with his post-graduation and MPhil in Tourism Administration and Tourism Management, has a vast career span of over 21 years in the tourism sector. Prior to joining the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, Mr. Farooq has worked in private sector for about 4 years and 12 years with the Department of Tourism, Government of Puducherry. In the Ministry of Tourism headquarters in New Delhi, he has handled subjects such as international tourism cooperation, niche tourism, information technology, and the right to information. He has organized various promotional events involving international delegates and heads of countries as part of inter-country tourism cooperation. Mr. Farooq has been an active sports person and has represented the state team in national matches and All India Athletic Championships. He won the gold medal in the 21-kilometer half marathon at Puducherry. He has represented Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, and Andaman in the NCC Directorate in the prestigious Republic Day celebrations in New Delhi. In his current capacity as Director, India Tourism Bengaluru, he is responsible for promoting tourism in Karnataka State in association with the Government of Karnataka. We are honored to have you as the Chief Guest today. A hearty welcome to you, sir. It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming Mr. Amit Desai, Chairman, Travel Agents Association of India, Karnataka Chapter, and Director, Billy's Travels Private Limited, a renowned travel company based in Bangalore. Ms. Amish, a chartered accountant by profession, has been a part of the travel trade in Bangalore since the past 20 years. He is extremely passionate about the travel business and believes that providing the highest quality of service and hand-holding the client is of utmost importance, and has built his travel agency around this philosophy. Mr. Amish has served as the Honorary Treasurer and Honorary Secretary of Travel Agents Association of India prior to being unanimously elected as the Chairman of the Karnataka chapter for 2 successive terms, 2017 to 2019 and 2019 to 2021. Mr. Amish is also the Honorary Treasurer of the Karnataka Tourism Society, the members of which are from the travel, tourism and hospitality sectors in Karnataka. An avid reader, Mr. Amish is a lover of sports, golf and cricket in particular. A very hearty welcome to you, Mr. Amish Desai. Ms. Seema Bhatt has been a constant support to all our tourism-related activities in the past. As Honorary Vice President of the Responsible Tourism Society of India, her contribution to sustainable tourism in the country has been invaluable. Ms. Seema Bhatt has worked extensively on issues related to ecotourism, biodiversity, and climate change. Her particular focus of work is on strengthening the links between conservation of biodiversity and livelihood of local communities. She views ecotourism as one such link and has coordinated 2 projects on ecotourism as the South Asia Coordinated for the USAID supported Biodiversity Conservation Network. Ms. Seema has since then worked extensively with various other ecotourism projects in India and other parts of South Asia. She has co-authored a book on ecotourism development in India, published by the Cambridge University Press. Ms. Seema is a Fulbright Research Scholar and was based at the Center for Responsible Tourism at Washington, D.C., where she explored the feasibility of ecotourism certification in India. She has since her return been working on setting standards for ecotourism in India. Ms. Seema holds a master's degree in environmental studies from the Yale School of Forestry and Environmental Studies. In addition to being the Honorary Vice President of the Ecotourism Society of India, Ms. Seema Bhatt is also with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. A very hearty welcome to you, Ms. Seema. I take great pleasure in welcoming Professor Kuldeep Kumar Raina, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Ramaya University of Applied Sciences, Bangalore. Prior to joining Ramaya University, Professor Raina, well known for his scientific acumen and leadership skills, has served as the Vice Chancellor DIT University, Dehradun for over 6 years. He has also served in Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Patiala, for about 28 years. At Thapar, he has held several responsibilities, both administrative and academic in nature, like Director, Deputy Director, Dean of Faculty, Dean Resource Planning and Generation, Dean Research and Sponsored Projects, and Head, School of Physics and Material Sciences. Professor Raina did his Masters and PhD in Solid State Material and then postdoctoral research in University of Manchester, United Kingdom. His contributions to teaching and research have brought him recognition nationally and internationally through various awards and fellowships. He became full professor of material sciences in 1999 and distinguished professor in 2008. Professor Raina's research achievements are known through his innovative practices and creative thinking approach. He has published over 250 research papers in peer-reviewed international journals and has delivered over 60 invited lectures in international conferences. He has attracted considerable research funding from various agencies like DST, DRDO, UGC, CSIR, AICT, etc. Professor Raina has supervised several postdoctoral works, 33 PhD theses, 40 PG theses. At Thapar University, he established Materials Research Laboratory, which caters to the wide research interests like liquid crystal materials and devices, electroceramics, polymers, self-assembled thin films, film layers, and nanocomposites. His works led to the better understanding of the optoelectronic properties of polymer liquid crystal dispersed composite systems for smart switchable windows and faster responses for ferroelectric materials. His works are well cited and he has been awarded and is awarded by many societies in India and abroad by Best Paper Awards. Indian National Science Academy nominated Dr. Raina to several foreign academies like Hungarian Academy of Sciences, Budapest, Royal Society, London, National Sound Foundation, South Korea, and the Academy of Sciences of Czech Republic under bilateral exchange program of scientists. As invited speaker, he has presented research findings in many international conferences in USA, Japan, Italy, Singapore, South Korea, Canada, United Kingdom, and Germany. He has active collaboration with Ludwig Maximilian University at Munich and Technical University Darmstadt in Germany, Czech Academy of Sciences Prague, University of Manchester, United Kingdom, University of Bordeaux, France, Raman Research Institute, Bangalore, Solid State Physical Laboratory, New Delhi, National Physics Laboratory, New Delhi, and others. We are proud to have such a luminary as our Vice Chancellor, and I wholeheartedly welcome him to preside over today's function. Professor M. Sai Baba is an outstanding scientist and former director, Resource Management Group, Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Kalpakkam, and Senior Professor Homi Baba National Institute, Dean Research Affairs, and Coordinating Dean of HBNI at IGCAR. Prior to joining Ramaya University as Registrar, Professor Sai Baba was with the National Institute of Advanced Studies, Bengaluru, and was working in the domain of science communication and risk communication, human reliability program, and understanding ancient Hindu knowledge systems for applying them the holistic development of youth. His works at NIS include obtaining effective and informative insights on managing public perceptions and public acceptance of public risks associated with new and emerging technologies, through science and technology communications, developing platforms for enhancing interactions between scientists and public using conventional and non-conventional media of communications, methodologies used for human reliability analysis, identify good practices in safety and security for human reliability program and find commonality across the industries, as well as identify and or develop a methodology with the potential of large-scale implementation at educational institutions for the holistic development of youth and develop a policy document for nationwide implementation. Professor Sai Baba carried out his postdoctoral work at Texas A&M University, United States of America, and at Research Center Jülich, Germany. He has worked as guest scientist at Nuclear Research Center Jülich, Germany. Professor Sai Baba has made significant contributions for the implementation of several high-impact activities of relevance to IGCAR and DAE, and contributed towards institution building and academic management. He has contributed to diverse domains which include human resource management, Homi Bhabha National Institute, access to scientific information resources, financial management, workflow automation, and aid to move towards a paperless office, technology transfer, and intellectual property rights. He has displayed commendable leadership in providing access to scientific information resources with considerable ease, catering to the varied needs of researchers and a large community of students. Dr. Sai Baba is member of committees constituted by DST and UGC. He has co-authored several publications and contributed to chapters in books besides editing several books and periodicals. He has delivered more than 150 invited talks. He was conferred Doctor of Science by MGI University, Education and Research Institute, Chennai. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Yes, thank you.
It gives me immense pleasure in welcoming Dr. Govinda Kadambi, Pro Vice Chancellor Research, Ramaiah University of Applied Sciences, Dr. D.C. Sundaresh, Pro Vice Chancellor Health Sciences, and Dr. Anindya Sen, Pro Vice Chancellor Social Sciences at Ramaiah University of Applied Sciences. I take this opportunity to welcome all deans, directors, and head of departments at Ramaiah University. A warm welcome is extended to all faculty members of RUS and other participating institutions. A hearty welcome is extended to all students at the university and all other participating institutions. Finally, on a generic note, I extend a warm and hearty welcome to one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your warm welcome. I want to share that when we approached Sri Mohammad Farooq sir, the Honorable Director of India Tourism, Government of India, with the idea to associate and celebrate World Tourism Day, sir gave his assertive response and suggested to add the theme of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, which has helped us to organize the series of online competitions productively, with India being our subject of study for the young participants. Thank you, sir, for your kind support. I request Honorable Director of India Tourism, Farooq sir, to address the gathering, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Vice Chancellor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Farooq.
Yeah, respected Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kuljit Raina, Dr. Sai Baba, Registrar of the University, Professor Abhi Matthew, Dean of the Ramaiah University, Ms. Seema Bhatt, Honorary Vice President, Responsible Tourism Society of India, my friend Mr. Amish Desai from CHAI, faculty members, HOD of the department, Dr. Sweetie, respected faculty members of other universities and other departments, and my dear young students. It gives immense pleasure for me to be here today before you on the occasion of World Tourism Day 2021. So at the outset, I wish you all a happy World Tourism Day. The world is celebrating World Tourism Day today, and this is the designated day which has been earmarked by the United Nations World Tourism Organization. And countries throughout the globe are celebrating World Tourism Day on 27 September 2021. This year, World Tourism Day theme is Tourism and Inclusive Growth. Friends, we all know that tourism is one of the largest growing industry, which accounts for 10% of global GDP, roughly 10% of total employment that is generated across the globe. And tourism has many effects on many countries. It has multiplier effect on the economy, and it has a lot of prospects for excellent growth. That is the reason tourism is being looked as one of the strategic industry in all the developed, developing, and the least developed countries. Irrespective of their status, every country in the world is pursuing tourism as one of the priority and strategic sector for their country's economy. You might have seen even countries which are conservative like Saudi Arabia are aggressively promoting tourism in today's scenario, because I'm sure they would have understood that this is one industry or one sector that can reach to every nook and corner of the country. Even any other industry may not have that capacity to reach to all the segments of the society. That's one of the major reasons that tourism is being patronized by almost all the countries in the world. We all know that tourism is one of the sound and resilient industry. Last 2 years have been bad for all of us, for almost all the industries in the world, including tourism. But there is no denying the fact that tourism has been badly hit. And my friends in the industry are still looking at the sky with a ray of hope that this pandemic will give way for good business. So tourism has seen many crises in the past, and it has come out strong, and it has this resilient nature, and it has proved to the world that it can bounce back and come back to normalcy. Ladies and gentlemen, tourism by nature is a diverse and heterogeneous industry. We have in this industry big players, big sectors, subsectors like airlines, hotels, inbound or outbound tour operations business, travel agencies, ground transportation, railways, roadways, all this. But it also has MSMEs, small shopping business. We have craftsmen, handicrafts selling their handicrafts. We have local folk artists performing, and they survive through tourism. If you go to Lal Bagh, you might have seen people selling ground nets there. They also survive on tourism. So tourism is basically one industry that caters from the top high-end business companies to lower-end small timers like people selling ground nets and make a living out of it. That is what we call as inclusive growth. That is what World Tourism Day's theme is, tourism and inclusive growth. Friends, when I say this, I also want to tell you two things. Tourism should be inclusive for all. We should take or make tourism accessible for everyone in the world, whether he's differently able or is of low economic background, irrespective of race, religion, caste, creed, everyone should have the opportunity to embrace tourism or take tourism. Similarly, the benefits from tourism should reach every citizen in this world, everyone in this world. When there is a tourism activity happening in any destination, the local community also comes into the picture. There may be a farmer who is selling vegetables. There may be a small-time farmhouse owner who is having cows to sell milk. There might be a person or a household having few chickens in their household, which they would like to sell and make some little money as an alternative source of income. So tourism gives scope for all this to happen. It percolates literally to the end section of society, and the benefits are being plowed by all these people. So if you want a responsible and sustainable tourism development model, we will have to look at this seriously. I'm sure today's world, people are looking at any national tourism organization are looking at three things. One is economic growth. Second is inclusive development. And the third one is environmental sustainability. So if these three things are taken care of, tourism will progress from where we are to a new level. Tourism, as I said earlier, galvanizes local economies and offers social and economic opportunities for broad sectors of a population. Friends, tourism, if can be used properly, can be a wonderful tool to fight poverty, assist vulnerable groups and disadvantaged groups. It will open doors to integrate the youth, the women, the indigenous people, and above all, differently abled. It also offers a lot of opportunities for entrepreneurship. Only low investment is required for any activity. Most of the activities, if I can say that, most of the activities in tourism. For example, if a young entrepreneur want to do a catering business, what kind of investment you would require? You should have a range of cuisine that he can offer to the travelers. If he can do that, probably within a lakh or 50,000 rupees, he can buy the utensils. He can make it everything homely and serve to the tourist. Or these people, we have a scheme in the Ministry of Tourism where we are promoting homestays. Travelers, especially international travelers, would love to come and stay at a villager's house to experience his hospitality, to experience the lifestyle, to experience the core Indian culture that a rural tourism person who is running a homestay will offer. Similarly, tourism has high representation of women and young workers. When compared to other industry, large proportion of the tourism industry workforce is youth and women. Not only that, tourism also contributes to the sustainable development goals of the United Nations. So destination should not only focus on economic growth, but also it should ensure it is sustainable and inclusive. So to put it in a nutshell, and if I have to sum it up, I would like to say that, if a destination want to promote inclusive tourism, it should offer tourism, experiential tourism, or tourism experience based on its own local characteristics. Importance should be given to the local characteristic of that destination. The destination should create decent employment and also promote equal opportunity for all the members in the community, especially to the disadvantaged and the vulnerable groups. For them to participate in the tourism and benefit from tourism activity. Everything what I said should also meticulously followed under the principles of sustainable tourism development. So friends, young friends who are studying tourism, I can only say to you that, on this World Tourism Day, though there are crises, there is pandemic, and many waves are being talked about, let us all be positive, and I'm sure with this 1.5 years of slow tourism that we have experienced, tourism is going to bounce back with many more number of demands. Like, if the demand is 50% today, it's going to become 200% in the months to come. So if tourism grows, the employment opportunities will also grow manifold. So I would urge the young tourism students of the university and the tourism students all over the country to stay focused. Apart from your academic studies, also focus on practical visits. Go to tourism destinations. See what can you explore as a tourism product, new tourism product. Work on it. You might be staying in a remote corner in Hampi or in Belgaum. There might be something which will be really fascinating for the travelers who is coming from Bangalore or Chennai. So put that all together as a product and become an entrepreneur. I'm sure tourism is one industry that will give a lot of rewards for people who innovate and give products that are very dynamic and that are very new and that is fresh. So you can in a country like India, I'm sure there are more than 10,000 products right now, and we can still produce, or we can still make more than 1 lakh of tourism products, new tourism products. When I say tourism products, I mean the experience, the tourism experiences that you can offer as a business person or as a tour operator to the discerning travelers. So with this, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Sweety, who had given me this opportunity to address you all on this August occasion of World Tourism Day. We from the Ministry of Tourism are doing a lot of activities, and the ongoing campaign is on Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. As citizens of this country, we should be proud about our country. We are going to celebrate 75 years of independence in 2022, but the celebrations have already begun 1 year in advance. So we should be proud of our country's achievements in all the fields, especially in the tourism fields. 10 years before that, we cannot experience a world-class experience amenities in the railway station, but that has changed in today's world. We have Udan schemes where all the remote corners of the country are connected by air. Similarly, cruise tourism has been started in India, and we have international cruise ships coming to India in more numbers in the days to come. So we will have to celebrate this, have a positive attitude towards our country, and say, yes, India has all the potential to make it in the global tourism map. So with that attitude, if you can work in the tourism industry, I'm sure with all your support, we can take tourism, Incredible India tourism, to the top ranking in another 5 years of time. So with this, I thank you everyone, Dr. Sweety, Professor Abe, the Vice Chancellor and the Registrar for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Farooq. It was really wonderful. I compliment you and such a great vision. I'm sure that we'll come out of this tough time and the industry will grow further and further. Thank you very much for your observations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Farooq sir, for your insightful address. Yes, we second your thought that tourism is a sound and resilient industry and will definitely bounce back. The nature of tourism of being an inclusive industry for all will definitely help the nations to grow. The series of online competitions were enthusiastically organized by the student team of the professional core elective Travel and Tourism Management course. They were assigned the task of arranging the event as a part of their sessional activity, and they have done their job well. They started by preparing the rules and regulations of the event, moving on to making the posters to advertise the event. We have received an overwhelming response of 148 registrations pan-India. For the evaluation of the competitions, we had experts from India Tourism Bengaluru and other external professionals. A special thanks to Mr. Kedarnath Angadi, Operations Executive at India Tourism Bengaluru, for his coordination during the entire event. Now, it's time to announce the winners. Here they are on your screen. For the online quiz on the theme Know India, the third prize goes to Ms. Spurti DS from Yereva University, Bengaluru. The second prize goes to Ms. Kavala Priyadarshini, Institute of Hotel Management, Bengaluru. And here we are. The first place goes to Mr. Yogesh M from MBJ Engineering College, Bengaluru. The winners for the photographic competition, which was on the theme Diversity of India, are: the third prize winner is Mr. Suyash Sinha from Institute of Hotel Management, Bengaluru. And here is the photo which he has taken, his original photo stock. I would like to emphasize that these students have sent their photos along with a description note. Based on both, the evaluation was done. The second prize goes to Mr. Akhil P. Suni from Nepunya Institute of Management and Information Technology, Kerala. Here we are for the first place goes to Mr. Yakshendra Singh, Institute of Hotel Management, Bangalore. The videography competition on the theme Flavor of Rural India was organized. The winners are: third place goes to the team of Miss Manasi D.A., Sandhya A., Pola Shravan. They are the students of Bachelors of Vocational Culinary Arts from FHMCT, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences. Congratulations. Second place goes to Mr. Nikhil H.S. Vicky Art from Bachelors of Vocational Culinary Art, FHMCT, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences. And the first place goes to Mr. Raghuveer and Anand Chenkapure from Bachelors of Hotel Management, FHMCT, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences. Now we will be playing the interesting video made by the first prize winners. The rest of the videos will be uploaded on the faculty website.
Hello, Namaskara everyone. This is Anand Chankapure and Raghuveer Badri. We are presenting you Flavor of Rural India. The aim of this film is to showcase the true rural flavors and staple dishes from a regional part of South India, that is from North Karnataka. In India, especially South India, has a long-standing tradition of serving food on a plantain leaf, as the food served on leaf absorbs many nutrients and polyphenols present in it, which is said to prevent many lifestyle diseases, as well as it is eco-friendly, hygiene and economical. The first recipe out here is ragi roti. Ragi, which is also known as finger millet or nachni. Ragi is quite a show stealer and it is also considered as one of a superfood as it is gluten free, low in carbohydrates and rich in fiber, potassium and calcium. The ragi flour is studded with some onions and coriander to perk up its flavor along with some oil to hold the dough together. Now you just have to spread out the dough with the help of your fingers and toss it on a hot plate with a drizzle of oil. The next recipe is known as soppina palya, for which we need a cup of black-eyed beans, that is alsandi kalu, and a bunch of dantina soppu, which is also known as amarnath leaves. To start with, in hot oil, we are going to add some cumin seeds, mustard seeds, curry leaves, along with flecks of chilies, which is going to give a fiery punch to the dish. Here, chili is a quintessential ingredient used in North Karnataka dishes, as Kannadigas always like their food hot and spicy. Saute some chopped onions along with the seasoning like salt, turmeric, and then we are going to add our amarnath leaves, that is dantina soppu. Add some pressure cooked black eyed beans or alasandi kalu along with some freshly grated coconut and saute it well. Now our sopina palya is ready to serve hot. The third recipe which we are going to cook is North Karnataka famous Badnekai Yennegai Goju, also known as stuffed aubergine or eggplant curry. Now this tangy and creamy flavored goju when enjoyed with jolad roti brings a slightly dry roti to life. We need to parboil our brinjals along with a small slit at the bottom and shallow fry them in a hot oil along with some curry leaves and turmeric. To make the gojju or paste, we need to broil some peanuts, sesame seeds, poppy seeds, dry red chilies, and grind all these to a coarse paste by adding shallots, carom seeds, cloves, cinnamon stick, coconut, tamarind, and jaggery. Add the coarsely ground paste to the shallow fried brinjals and along with a splash of water to achieve the right consistency. Badnekai Yennegai Gojju is now ready to serve. Our fourth very well-known recipe, that is jolada rotte or sorghum flour flatbread. Jowar or sorghum is an ancient grain and one of the top 5 cereal crops in the world. Interesting fact, there isn't a single drop of oil used in the making of this roti. The only thing that binds the flour together is a few tablespoons of hot water. The indigenous way of flattening the dough is by tapping on it with your palm. One among the great cities with ancient history of food and culture is Bidar. Bidar, a historical city located in the region of North Karnataka. The word Bidar emerged from the word Bidri, which is a kind of Damascene work known as Kothagiri. This unique artware is originally gifted by Persian artists at the time when Bahmani dynasty ruled Bidar in 14th and 15th century. The uniqueness of this art comes from the soil of the Bidri fort, which contains different chemicals, lime, and is believed to give a lustrous black color to the Bidri products. Varieties of mouth-watering dishes, historical places, and people of Uttar Karnataka is a must-have in your bucket list. Atithi Devo Bhava is not just a saying in Uttar Karnataka, we Kannadigas do mean it as well. Hello.
I hope you have enjoyed the video. Now it's time to announce the winners for the case study competition on the theme Tourism for Inclusive Growth in India. The third place goes to the team of Miss Ansi Rose, Miss George, Miss Sapana. They are the students of MA, School of Social Sciences, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences. Second place winners are Mr. Jayasuman K, Miss Ranjini Nadik, Miss Gauri Dikshit. Students of School of Social Sciences, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences. And the first place winners are Miss Monisha GR, Miss Yashaswini MB, Mr. Sampath N, Mr. Joseph Allen, MBA student of Faculty of Management and Commerce, Ramaya University of Applied Sciences. Now I request our next speaker, Honorable Chairman of Travel Agents Association of India, TAI, Karnataka Chapter, and Director of B-List Travel Private Limited, Mr. Amish Desai, to address the budding professionals on employability skills in new normal. To you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Mohammad Farooq, Director, India Tourism Bangalore, Professor Abby Matthew, Dr. University of Applied Sciences, Professor Sai Baba, and other dignitaries. I'm indeed most thankful to you for inviting me to be a part of the World Tourism Day 2021 celebrations at Ramaya University of Applied Sciences and providing me with an opportunity to address young and enthusiastic pursuers and looking at the future in the tourism sector, a sector which is very close to my heart. Before I begin, I'd just like to make a small correction. When Mr. Matthew introduced me, he mentioned that I was a chartered accountant by profession, which is not true. I'm only a chartered accountant by qualification. By profession, I'm a pure and passionate travel professional, and I hope that all of you too turn out to be like this one day. I've been asked to address you on the future prospects of the travel and tourism industry and the job and employment opportunity in this sector. For this, I would like to first talk to you about tourism per se. The central role of tourism is nothing but through history, through the ages, the ability to travel has been at the very heart of a country's evolution, of the evolution of civilizations, and has always been linked to business. First and foremost, of course, traveling tourism was the backbone of commerce, but it has also been about aspiration and ambition, about curiosity, about self-improvement, about discovering something new. Through generations, people have crisscrossed continents in search of knowledge, in search of fortune. Travel has given them the opportunity to experience the cultural and economic differences between countries, continents, and cultures, not through the pages of a book or the screens of a computer or a mobile phone, but firsthand. Whether it was Yun Sang, who traveled from China to India and then traversed all around India in search of knowledge, whether it was Marco Polo, who traveled from Europe to the Orient, or whether even it was the merchants of the Renaissance period who traveled all over Europe spreading knowledge. All these involve travel and tourism. It's the experiencing of cultural differences for ourselves that has enriched our society and our civilizations. And that is the reason why travel will endure. We must remember that within every one of us, whether it's a 5-year-old child or an 85-year-old adult, there is a desire to know what lies beyond the horizon. It is this inquisitiveness, this desire to know, which fuels travel and tourism, because of which travel and tourism will survive. And in my opinion, for as long as mankind is around, travel and tourism is. Now, talking about how important the tourism industry is and what we need to do to make the most of it. As a service sector, the tourism industry creates millions of jobs and business opportunities. It is a catalyst of social cohesion. It has the capacity to lift people from poverty. It promotes gender empowerment, and it also helps protect the environment. It is precisely for this reason that it has become a vital tool for achieving positive changes in communities across the world. In India, the travel and tourism sector accounts for close to 10%, maybe about 9% of India's GDP, and approximately 1 in every 10 new jobs in the field of tourism. New jobs created in India are in the field of tourism. What is really interesting to me is that when you look at the overall numbers of the tourism industry, 88% of revenues of this sector come from domestic travel. This basically means that only 12% of our total revenue from tourism comes from international arrivals. And this is where I feel there is a huge opportunity. I did mention earlier that travel and tourism contributes handsomely to the country's GDP. And this figure is steadily increasing every year. These numbers can be even higher, and the positive impact of the sector can be even more wide-ranging as we increase the number of international arrivals into our country. This is something which the government of India has also realized, and realized the potential of this sector. And over the past few years has taken various steps to encourage international arrivals. One of the most significant being the e-tourist visa regime, which has really helped tourists to come into India. Apart from that, a lot of money spent on infrastructure in terms of upgrading international airports in India, building new international airports, connecting remote places by air, a huge increase in the road network, an increase and improvement in the road network. All these steps have also brought in investment in vital infrastructure from the private sector and has allowed tourism and hospitality companies to grow and do business in India. And apart from all this, remember, India is a beautiful and diverse tourism destination. And with these right policies in place, it will no doubt continue to grow towards ranking even higher and will attract more and more international travelers to come into India. And what does all this mean for you, the young travel professionals of tomorrow? Yes, the COVID-19 pandemic has knocked the winds out of the industry. The industry saw a fall of close to 80% in the year 2020. And though there has been a gradual recovery during the current year, the first half of the year was probably spent more in survival mode. However, with encouraging news in terms of the effectiveness of vaccines and concerted government action across the world, we could soon be changing gears and moving in revival mode. In fact, in India, domestic tourism has already restarted and has helped in mitigating the impact of the pandemic on jobs and businesses. Yes, a real recovery will come when international tourism starts, and this requires global cooperation and evidence-based solutions so that travel restrictions can be lifted but safer. And this is something which we are seeing happening in the last couple of months. Europe, UK, US, Canada, UAE, all have started lifting restrictions subject to certain protocols, of course, being followed in the past few weeks. And this is a clear sign that recovery in international tourism has commenced. And as countries begin to open their borders to welcome visitors, of course, with safety standards and protocols in place, we will see, in my opinion, we will see exponential growth in the industry. If all goes well, the industry should be back to anywhere between 85 to 90% of pre-COVID levels by the first quarter of 2022. So all you students out there, don't get disheartened. The industry will revive and in fact thrive, and will most certainly look forward to welcome you all into its folds. Through all these government initiatives which I mentioned and increased industry participation, the involvement of startup ventures, the upgradation of tourism destinations, and most importantly, the emergence of India as a global economic giant are some of the key factors that have led to the growth of the travel and tourism industry. And this stupendous growth has thrown open a number of career options, and the scope of employment is beyond boundaries. A job in the travel and tourism industry does not only mean employment in travel agencies or in an airline or in a hotel. There are opportunities all over. I think one of the biggest opportunities is multilingual guides and group tour escorts. We are going to see an increase in the number of international arrivals, and we will require multilingual guides, multilingual group escorts to travel these international arrivals to make them more comfortable. They could be interpreters. So go out there, learn a language, learn Spanish, learn German, learn Japanese. All this is going to help you. There are job opportunities in railways. There are job opportunities even in customs and immigration and a host of other areas. Cruises, for example. And apart from these conventional job opportunities, for those of you who have a flair for entrepreneurship or to work as an individual, the social media platforms have thrown up such massive opportunities. You could be a travel influencer. You could be a blogger. You could write about destinations. You could write about itineraries. You could go into product designing, something which Mr. Farooq mentioned. You could design a product as a tourism product. You could look at designing specific itineraries. There are also other avenues opening up, like sports tourism, people traveling to watch sports events, whether it be F1 races, football games. There is wedding travel planning. Yes, the wedding travel planner is not just someone who plans the wedding. He plans the travel arrangements as well, because destination weddings are today the norm. You could look at public relations activities, representing a tourism organization or a set of hotels. So there's lots of opportunities out there. And as a person with over 20 years of experience in the travel and tourism industry, addressing you, the next generation of travel professionals, I'm really excited about what life has in store for you. With the opportunities which are going to keep opening up, I see so much richness and future success for all of you. As you complete your educational courses, maybe in the next 6 months or a year, and move out of your colleges and universities, you will have a lot of people coming up to you and saying, now you're stepping out into the big bad world. But believe me, it is not a bad world at all. It is in fact a very, it welcomes the hardworking, the perseverant, the honest, the loving, the patient. It welcomes them all into its arms and never fails to reward you. The rewards may come late, but they will surely come your way. So to all of you students, go out there with a good heart, a clear mind, honest intentions, and all sincerity. And you will see that the world is your oyster and you are the pearl. Thank you very much, all of you and all the dignitaries. It's been a pleasure addressing the students of travel, tourism, and hospitality sector.
Thank you very much, Mr. Desai. Thank you.
Thank you, Amish sir, for your encouraging thoughts. Yes, hospitality and tourism has billions of employment opportunities for the students. The multilingual guide opportunities, customs duty opportunities, product designs, and social media jobs will definitely help our youngsters to grow. Thank you so much, sir. Due to some technical glitch, our next guest speaker, Ms. Seema Bhatt, the Honorary Vice President of Responsible Tourism Society of India, is unable to join us as a presenter. However, ma'am has joined us as an attendee. We will try to connect her over the phone with you. Has billions of employment opportunities for the students. The multilingual guide opportunities, customs duty opportunities, product designs, and social media jobs will definitely help our youngsters to grow. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you, ma'am. Due to some technical glitch, our next guest speaker, Ms. Seema Bhatt, the Honorary Vice President of Responsible Tourism Society of India, is unable to join us as a presenter. Yes, ma'am. Employment opportunities for the students.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, ma'am.
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you, ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me?
No worries, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I will convey your thoughts to the audience. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Yes, good afternoon, and I hope you can hear me. Big lesson always learned is never depend on technology because it lets you down at the last minute.
Yes, ma'am.
So apologies.
We can hear you, ma'am.
Yeah, so apologies for this, and this distinguished faculty, yes. Hello?
We can hear you, ma'am.
Distinguished faculty, distinguished speakers, and also my dear students.
Ma'am, I would like to.
So I'm not so sure. Okay.
Sorry, ma'am, for the interruption. Ma'am, there is a internet issue. I will convey your thoughts to the audience, ma'am. There's some, yeah, okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah. Extremely sorry for the technical issue. It is due to the internet lag. We are unable to connect ma'am directly. Here are some of the points which Seema ma'am would like to address to our youngsters. She has drafted a very well articulated article on need for responsible tourism. Her thoughts are that the need for responsible tourism becomes even more relevant in the post-COVID scenario. She wanted to emphasize what does responsible tourism mean. It means minimum ecological, social, and cultural impacts, education for the traveler, tourist for environmental awareness, direct financial and other benefits to the local community, respect for different cultures. The elements of responsible tourism are energy conservation, waste management, code of conduct, hygiene and sanitation, training, and certification. She has emphasized what is required for responsible tourism. The requirements are training and capacity building, education and awareness through interpretation materials, feedback and subsequent improvements, and adaptive management. Setting standards and code of conduct, the carrying capacity, and marketing element. So she says to the traveler, be responsible, choose the right mode of transport, bring your own supplies, eat local, shop local, and be culturally sensitive. Thank you, ma'am, for your interesting note and encouraging note for the students and for everyone to be responsible tourists, and sustainably we should try to help the industry to grow. Now I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kuldeep Raina, to please address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sweetie. Our very esteemed chief guest of this very important event, and we are celebrating the World Tourism Day. We have amongst us Mohammad Farooq, the director of the Indian Tourism at Bangalore, and also the wonderful speaker, Mr. Desai. We could not listen to Miss Seema, but I think his conversation, his message was loud and clear to each one of us. My esteemed colleagues, Professor Sai Baba, Professor Matthews, Dr. Sweetie, all those who are connected with us remotely, our beloved students and the interested participants from the Faculty of Hospitality and Culinary Sciences. A very good evening to you all. Namaskar. Friends, at the outset, I pray and wish that we celebrate such days every year. Our country, as has been said by my predecessors, is great, vibrant, wide, and there is plenty that our nation can offer to the world tourism industry. Where are we? Where do we stand? I think today we do not have the exact statistics with us, but I think the thought process from Mr. Farooq, Mr. Desai, Ms. Seema, and all of us are exploring the opportunities, not only for the sake of placement, but providing an opportunity to the global community to come see India, what it is. A country who has wide boundaries, vast oceans, wonderful landscapes, the temples, the architecture, which has culminated in making India different, has been there throughout the centuries. When we talk about the visitors coming to us, I think there are large number of visitors who have visited us when there were no air services. Probably there was not a bus service as well. But how could they come? How could they make it to reach to us? Is not a mystery, but it was a curiosity to explore. I personally put tourism not only enjoying, but a curiosity to explore what is on the other side of the continent. My friends, I compliment the Department of the Faculty of Hospitality and Culinary Studies, it is Dean and all members of the faculty, that they have taken initiative in organizing this event. And for that, inviting such wonderful people is always a great. Their time their efforts and being with us is, I regard it very much, Mr. Farooq and Mr. Desai, that despite your own commitments and the busy schedule, you could be with us, inspire our students and the faculty members too. And in particular me, because this is the first interface that I am having with such wonderful guests in the virtual mode. I would have wished had we met here in the auditorium along with the students in the face-to-face mode, and probably we could have sent the message in a different way. But the new norm, wherever we are connected, is what we have vindicated through this virtual mode of interaction. I personally see there's a great potential for our nation to be explored furthermore. What we have, that's a treasure. What we don't have, but is somewhere hidden, that also needs to be explored. And for that, since India is celebrating its 75th year of our independence, I think the code that goes Azadi Ka Amrit Utsav, Mahotsav, needs to be celebrated not only on the World Tourism Day, but I would say there has to be an every day some event, some occasion for that purpose. Because if we drink Amrit only on one day, I know it is going to be purer to us, but I think our life and thought process become more and more purer if we have a drop of that Amrit every day. Our honorable chief guest, Mr. Farooq, did make a mention about Azadi Ka Amrit. Mr. Farooq and Mr. Desai, I'm sure that very soon we will have an occasion to invite you on our campus, have a face-to-face discussion and the brainstorming with our students. And that is going to be more convincing in a way that they will see you in physical presence, that how you want to change the tourism and travel industry of our country. Going from north to south, east to west, I think our boundaries are so vast, but are we exploring every part of our nation? I would say no. Why? Probably the means of reaching them were not that available in plenty. With internet gaining the ground and minimizing the gap of the digital divide between rural and urban India is going to make it a reality, which we have learned the lesson from the post-COVID and during the COVID scenario. Frankly speaking, we in teaching fraternity were not ready to face this challenge, but COVID taught every teacher, whether he or she is in school, college or a university, or catering to the higher education sector, that other than the classroom, there are more means of disseminating information and learning from the experiences. The last 18 months has been a new norm, and we have learned a couple of lessons from that. If we go to Northeast, I think there is plenty that we the Indians can see. If you go to the eastern part, I think there is itself some great treasures which are still unexplored. We go to the northwestern part of the country, I think there is something great Himalayas and we have not yet explored each and everything of it. Probably the teaching pedagogy or the learning has been, you go to the classroom, remember your lessons, appear for 3 hours examination, you will be graded and awarded with a degree, and that is the learning that you have. But Mr. Desai, as you rightly said, an entrepreneurship in tourism is still missing in our country. This has confined only to a few segment group of people in our country, where there is some demand from the Western tourists, where it is not the knowledge, it is not the training which they have got, it is because of their family profession and the family business that has been getting translated from parents to the next generation of these young entrepreneurs. But I see a great scope that education institutions like ours can start these short-term programs, long-term programs, certificate programs for the people, which is going to enhance the employability, the view and the vision, the thought process that is needed in the travel industry. And travel is not only going from one place to another place. I think from the time you start and by the time you reach back home, it is economy, it's a thought process, it's the perception, it is love for the place. Connecting yourself to that place and space becomes very, very important, very, very essential. I think as university, we need to look at it through a different prism, not only training students for the graduate programs, but may also provide opportunities as a vocational training in hospitality, in tourism, and other sectors. There is a great scope of working together. On this special day, I compliment each one of you, and through you, to the whole tourism industry and the travel industry, that we, the Ramaiah University of Applied Sciences, are there to look for newer programs and newer opportunities. Here I would not miss the opportunity of mentioning that the new education policy that has been approved by the Government of India has much more than only the education in the classroom. It speaks about offering cross-disciplinary programs, also about the specialized programs, the vocational programs, and some programs in their local language. I think if some guest has to come to Karnataka, Karnataka is not only Kannada speaking or the English speaking. I think there are other dialects too. I'm sure that universities will provide those platforms for local, vocal, national, and international networks and tie-ups. With these words, I thank you all once again for being a part of this very, very prestigious event, and that is our celebration of the World Tourism Day. During the award function, Dr. Sweety made mention of the awardees. I compliment all those awardees who came from different institutions, participated in the competition, and they made it that yes, they deserved it to be. I am confident that when we celebrate such events in future too, we will have more and more participation, not only from nearby institutions, but at the national level. Dr. Sweety tried to make it visible to the whole national community, all colleges, all universities in the country. Let them participate. Let the competition win, and the best mind get the first prize. And he will be there when there are more and more people participating in such competitions. I have a request to both Mr. Farooq as well as Mr. Desai and also Ms. Seema that become a part and parcel of our learning process along with students. We shall be inviting you on some occasions to interact with our students and give some expert lectures to them that how this tourism is expanding day by day. I think it is $1 billion business at present, undoubtedly got hampered because of the COVID situations, but I see now very soon things coming back to the normal. I'm sure it is a great scope and we have a long way to go in making India visible to the global community. With these words, I thank you all and wishing you great evening and a nice time with your families. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your wishes and encouraging note. Yes, sir, the unexplored places of northeastern states needs a major push by our young entrepreneurs. We need to have more training programs for them. Definitely, we would like to have a face-to-face meeting with our distinguished delegates in near future. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sweety. Thank you.
Now, it's time to conclude the ceremony with a thanksgiving to all who have contributed directly and indirectly. I request our Honorable Registrar, Dr. M. Sai Baba, to address the gathering, please. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Sweetie. Thank you, Professor Abhi, and you for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Mohammed Farooq, Mr. Amish Desai, and Seema Bhatt, and Professor Raina for nice words. I think I always been thinking about, is the tourism part of our life or not? If you just recall that when you are at home and be there for 4 or 5 days, obviously in the 6th, 7th day, you'd like to go out and dine outside. If you're living in a place, after a few months, you look forward to an opportunity to visit a new place. I think tourism is become that way part of our lives. When I was thinking about tourism in India, I think there's nothing which is available anywhere else in the world that is not available in our country. Be the snows of the Himalayas, or the nice beaches, or wonderful travel by train by the Konkan, to start from the one tip of Kanyakumari to go to Goa or to Mumbai. I think everything, and in addition to all these things, the extraordinary sculptures and the heritage which India carries. Be it the Brihadeeswara temple in Tanjavur, very intricate architectures, and when you look back into this, it is a reminiscence of what the Indian society has gone through. In fact, tourism has to look into, to get connected with the past and look for the future. In that way, I think the tourism plays a very important role. I had a good fortune of living very close to a heritage site in Mahabalipuram. And we used to say that, when you feel you are challenged with your scientific problem, one of our former directors, Dr. Baldev Raj, used to say, go to Mahabalipuram and have a look at those sculptures. And if our ancestors can do in the 6th century, we can do much more now. I think it's a very inspiring, I think. So the tourism is very important, plays an important role. I'm sure that celebrating occasions like this is to remind us that what we are missing. And Professor Raina said, all the speakers mentioning about the difficult times the world has gone through. But you've seen that it's a time to recalibrate ourselves and get ready when the lockdowns are over, when the restrictions are over. You would see a renaissance of the tourism and people visiting it. They're just waiting when I will be permitted to visit. So I think we all should get ready. The industry should get ready. The students should get ready to meet the demand when it comes. And I hope it's not too far from now. So I think that's where the students and the faculty should be ready for that occasion. I also congratulate the faculty for organizing this event and also conducting events. It's very important, I think. So many times what you learn in the class is one thing, and what you contribute by participating in such events really enhances your understanding about the subject. I could see nice pictures, nice photographs, and nice cookery. It's very nice. So it shows that there is talent, and we should provide avenues for our students to excel. So I congratulate all the participants. I'm happy to see more than about 140, 145 participants were there in these competitions. It's excellent. I'm sure, as Professor Raina suggested, when we go to national level, maybe next time we'll have much more people to participate. I'm sure that is an opportunity. So it's my congratulations for all those who participated in the event, and also congratulations to the faculty who took the initiative and the students who joined them in organizing these events. I think on a day like this is to look forward to the world getting back to its old normal, where we all will start traveling, visiting places, and cherishing those things. As I said, when you tour, you learn. You learn about the possibilities, and that is what is the best part of being on tour. I'm sure that we all would make use of this opportunity at Ramaiah University. Our faculty is making all the efforts to complete the learning process by providing such opportunities. And of course, I can keep on talking. I would stop here and to say congratulations to all the people, all the participants, and best wishes for a safe and safe life ahead for you and your family members. So let me congratulate again all the people who participated in this event. And I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for an encouraging note and wishes. Definitely, we will try to do more and more in near future. Here are some announcements for the winners and participants. Kindly note, the e-certificates will be sent to all the participants of the competition through email. Winners residing in Bangalore can come to FHMCT RUS to collect your prize and certificate. The prize and certificate will be couriered to winners who are residing outside Bangalore. Glad to have you all today for the celebration. Thank you one and all. Thank you so much. So we are ending the meeting. Thank you so much.